I think we'll get started. I'm sure we'll have a few more people join as we go. Good morning again, everybody. My name is Charlie Wiseman. I'm the Department Chair for Computer Science and Networking. I really appreciate you all coming this morning to hear a little bit more about our departments, about our three majors, and sort of hear from some faculty about interesting projects and things that they've been working on that you'd have a chance to work on if you decide to come here as a student. We're going to start with just a couple little logistic things, and then we'll hear from several of our faculty, and then we'll have plenty of time at the end for questions. And so to help get us started, Dave, would you like to kind of let everyone know what the plan is for the morning?
Sure. So my name is Dave Albanese. I'm the academic coordinator for the Department of Computer Science and Networking. That means pretty much that I'll be one of the most important people you know over the next several years if you decide to join us in the fall. Basically what that means is you can ask me any questions you have about our programs, about taking courses elsewhere, transferring things, AP credits, anything that comes to mind that you aren't sure necessarily who to talk to. If I don't know the answers, I can at least point you in the right direction. So you'll probably be getting a lot of emails from me and probably sending a fair amount of them yourself over the next few years. I'm going to be kind of stepping in between different speakers and introducing people as we move along. And also be sure if you have any questions as we go to just leave them down in the chat box and we'll try to answer them as quickly as we can, either in the chat or bringing them up at the end and talking through them. Because if you have a question about something, chances are at least one or two other people are wondering the same thing. So I'll throw it back now to you, Charlie, to introduce our programs.
Great. Thank you so much, Dave. Mostly what I would like to do is just take a moment to get the kind of stage set for the rest of what you're going to hear today. First, just as a reminder, in this department, we have 3 different bachelor's degrees, and I think we've got folks in the audience who have been accepted into all 3 of these: computer science, computer networking, and cybersecurity. I'll say a quick word about each of those in a second. We also have a master's in applied computer science that we've been working on for several years and is going to be launching very soon, and I'll say a little bit about that. And then lastly, we have a minor in data science, which is a relatively new minor on campus, one that's shared amongst this department and the math department, and indeed a few other departments around campus, with a real focus on data science and analytics and all the things that kind of go around that across a bunch of different areas, not just a computer science focus. So first of all, computer science in general is all about software engineering. In computer science, you're going to spend 4 years really learning how to write code using a variety of different languages and tools and frameworks and APIs. But at the end of the day, you're going to be learning how to create new programs to solve problems of all kinds. Computer networking is more about the operational side of computing, keeping things running smoothly from a day-to-day, thinking about an overlap of programming, but really more on the information technology side, where you're building the routers and the switches and the networks and the systems. You're deploying software services using cloud computing, setting up things like VPNs for remote work, which of course is somewhat important at this very moment. Making sure that people can get to their email, all those sorts of things. And so it's a little bit more on the kind of keeping things running side rather than creating new code. Although in networking, you do continue to take some programming classes to help you learn how to write code, mostly to write sort of smaller little bits of programs to glue other pieces of software together to do more interesting things in short order, also to automate processing and so on, so that we can get away from doing sort of the boring stuff and having all of that be automatically taken care of, and we can focus on solving more interesting problems. And we have our newest degree in cybersecurity, which just launched this last year. We have freshmen and sophomores in the program now. Those of you joining us this fall in cyber will be our 3rd kind of group coming through the program. Cybersecurity is a little bit of computer science and a little bit of networking and a little bit of a whole bunch of other things, which all come together to help our students learn how to build and secure their own kind of little piece of the larger cybersecurity world, of the larger computing world. You learn how to set things up to keep them secure. You learn how to analyze systems to understand what the different problems might be in those systems. You take a number of classes in things like network security and computer security, looking at security across all layers of what a normal computing infrastructure looks like. And you'll hear a little bit more about that as well this morning from Professor Ray Hansen. Our Master's in Applied Computer Science, we're going to be launching in about a year, and it's really built to be a 4+1 model, which you may have seen at some other schools. In other words, you spend 4 years in your bachelor's degree, and then you can spend a single year and graduate with a master's. There's not a whole lot I want to say about that this morning because we're still finalizing some details, and frankly, you're mostly here to talk about the undergraduate programs. But if you'd like to hear more, don't hesitate to reach out. And again, for data science, I think you'll hear just a little bit about that this morning as well from Professor Memo Ergezer. But I think it's really, of all the minors on campus right now, I think it's one of the ones that our students are most interested in because of the obvious connection to artificial intelligence and machine learning, which so many of you would like to know more about. And so all of these here, I really just want to keep it in your mind that all of these are options in our department. And as you hear from our faculty this morning, you'll get a chance to hear a little bit more about each of these areas and the kinds of courses and projects you'll be working on in those areas. And so with that, I'm going to get out of the way so you can actually meet the most important people here this morning, which are our faculty. First up this morning is Professor Yetunde Folajimi, and she's going to talk a little bit about some of her courses. So Yetunde, take it away.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wentworth, and congratulations on getting accepted. I will just go straight to my slide. Yeah. So, welcome again on getting accepted to Wentworth. We're excited to have you around, and we look forward to meeting you in person. My name is Yetunde Folajimi. I'm a professor here at Computer Science here in Wentworth, and I joined this community last fall. So I'm very, very new here, the newest faculty member in the department. And I want to tell you that this is a very exciting place to be. Proud to my being here. I've been teaching in different places all over the world, in Africa, in Europe, and here in the United States, as you can see here in these slides. And my last point of call was at Northeastern. And and I'm here as a full-time faculty. My main focus is to teach. I also do research, and my research area, I do artificial intelligence, mostly game, artificial intelligence, educational games, recommender systems, machine learning, and natural language systems. So I've taught all these courses that you have listed here on my screen, and you can see that artificial intelligence is really bold there, and we are actually doing much of it. This summer, we'll be teaching game artificial intelligence here this summer, and I've been teaching Computer Science 1 and Computer Science 2. That's what I taught this spring, and I'm going to elaborate more on that. So for CS1 and CS2, we teach Java. It's an introductory computer science course, and it's a course that will help you as a beginner, and also it's also focused on also helping you to be advanced programmer as well. So it's a language that is good both for beginners and at advanced level. CS1, we will be teaching you how you get acquainted to programming starting from the hello world and to being able to develop full-fledged application by the end of the semester. And then in CS2, we dive into object-oriented programming, where you will be developing more robust languages, more robust applications, and you'll be able to build applications as projects. We have a lot of assignments, so we have hands-on, we have labs that you do, and eventually you will be able to develop application, and you will be all set to even go into your co-op and work for any company. So whether you want to look at it from the fundamentals point of view, or you want to be at advanced level, we will prepare you. Java runs pretty much in almost every device that you find. It's probably running right now in your wristwatch or in your microwave, your car, or Java. Like Oracle website says, there are about 4 billion devices running Java. So you will always find job. You will always find something really relevant to do with Java. And we are going to prepare you, work with my colleagues, prepare you, get ready for the job market. Telemedicine, e-commerce, maybe you want to be a rocket engineer. Dream big and we will take you there. So that's what we're preparing you for, and we are very excited to have you, and we look forward to making you, letting your dream come true for your purpose for coming to Wentworth. Welcome once again, and very excited and talking to you.
All right, thank you, Tunde. Next, I want to turn things over to Professor Jones Yu. He wants to talk to you a little bit about an elective course he runs, mobile app development, which is very, very popular among our students. Jones?
Hey, thank you, Dave. So, okay, first of all, congratulations to everyone to be accepted to Wentworth. Okay, my name is Chen Xiang Yu, so most students call me Jones. Okay, so I'm a faculty member at Wentworth. This is already my 6th year. Okay, and I know I can talk a lot about myself, and many people, when they hear about the Jones, they think, oh, that is my last name. But unfortunately, this is my first name. There are some story I can tell you in class. Okay, anyway, so if you heard of Indiana Jones, that movie, so well, that's kind of similar. So, you know, that is my style. Okay, and then I have designed and taught many classes at Wentworth. So from your freshman year until your senior year. So computer science 1, 2, data structure, blah, blah, blah. And then I think the special class that I can identify is related to mobile. So part of the reason is I have been in industry about 19 years. So everything is all related to mobile, so I can talk a lot. But to tell you more, I think I just give you some idea. Okay, you pay tuition, you come to Wentworth. So in terms of the new technology, what can you learn? So let me identify 3 courses that I teach and show you students' work. And then just when you look at the students' work, think about this. They are just like you. They know nothing about this field. But after taking a class, they can do something, okay? So for the mobile class, student comes in, we start to help them to build up Hello World. And then later, we teach them how you can visualize your data and then in different format, list view, or later you will learn a little bit about a grid view, and you will learn how to beautify your mobile application, and you can make different features that makes or looks beautiful or convenient or useful to your user. And then later, we teach students how to build their own mobile browser. You can play YouTube video. You can play all the video that's stored in your mobile application. And they can also visualize data in real time. So what does the real time means? It means that you can get data from your hardware or sensors. So this is a very fundamental class. Later, we have some advanced class. But here, let me show you 2 projects that students did. So they try to finish all the learning. At the end, they try to create their application. The first one is a Pokemon application, because in the class, I always use Pokemon as example. So students joke on me that, Jones, I show you that what you talk about. So this is one application. And the second one is students try to bring their mobile app technology into their another class. They try to build the physics class application. You can use resistor, they can build a circuit. Okay, based on this fundamental, students continuously try to apply. This is a course related to computer science and biomedical. So students, they come in with computer science background, they know nothing about hardware. So I try to teach them how to build their hardware combined with software. So this is the team of students in 2016. So this is their final projects. So I taught them how to build the circuits, how they can draw the circuit. Don't be scared, okay? They know nothing, but they learn everything from the class. Then they try to play with different hardware, and at the end, they build their mobile application connected to their hardware. Okay, another class, students do the similar thing. Okay, in their final project, you see that they present something. What is that? They're trying to build a hardware. They use the 3D printer to print the hardware linked to mobile app. They also write mobile application. And also they try to implement machine learning. So that is what you say AI, trying to analyze data and present the analysis in real time. And then this is another team, they do the same thing, but what they did is they're trying to prototype the hardware, the products, they're trying to help the patient to heal their shoulder. So this is a circuit and the results they did. Okay, I still have many to talk, but I think I will pause here. And then my name is Jones. If you have anything related to mobile and web, I will be the person to answer your question. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jones. And just a reminder, if you have any questions as we're going along, just be sure to leave them in the chat and we'll try to answer them as best as we can. And next, I want to turn things over to Professor Memo Ergezer, who kind of spearheaded our data science developments within our department and also recently led a study abroad trip of our own students for this semester back in Berlin, Germany. So I'll probably like to talk about that as well. So Memo?
Thank you, David. And thank you everyone for joining. I appreciate it, and hopefully I'll get to meet you all in person very soon. I'll be talking about some of the courses that I'm involved in here as well, but I also wanted to show the research and some of the extracurricular activities that I'm involved in. So if you have similar interests, hopefully our paths will cross. So one of the researchers is something we presented last year in Hawaii, where the students worked on an AI solution to a card game. So this was a competition where we had to, predict the next best move. It was a very fun event. Another competition we did last year was in New Zealand, so quite far away, where we used a nature-inspired AI algorithm to solve problems where traditional methods don't work. This was a competition where we were the only undergraduate team that qualified to present there, and we made it to top 10. So I'm very proud of our students there as well. So that's the type of AI-related research I'm interested in. I'm also leading the data science minor that Professor Wiseman and David just mentioned. So teaching the data science fundamentals course this semester. Right now, the students working on a happiness rankings of different countries. And they also usually work on a fake news detector using machine learning. So analysis, machine learning prediction, those kind of things. Because of the current situation, we're also doing visualizations on COVID-19. Another class that I wanted to highlight is called Embedded AI. It's something that I developed based on my experience in the industry. And it's really about, okay, you learned how to do this complicated AI algorithms, we know the math, and maybe we know some sensors and everything, but how do you really combine everything so you have something that's running portable with something with a limited battery, limited CPU, and so on. It's really a practical course, really hands-on. So it led to some collaborations with some corporations. So one is Bose, which is a local company in Framingham, Massachusetts, where one of our students helped them to develop an app that works with the sensors in their devices for gesture recognition. So as you're wearing their device and maybe moving your head and your phone, you can change the song, etc., and it will do the gestures in there, predict the gestures that you're doing in there. Another collaboration we did is with Amazon, where we helped a few of our students really work with them to develop a prototype. It's not something I can show due to our NDA, but hopefully it's a device that you'll see in a few years coming to market. So something else I'm very excited about. But it's all about bringing this AI solutions to small devices in the real world. And finally, the last thing I wanted to highlight is our study abroad program. It's also something that we were doing this semester. We have a campus in Germany. So I go and teach the technical courses, but we also have faculty in Germany or coming to Germany teaching the humanities courses. It includes then the tours within the city to the museums, as well as tours. We had about tours planned to a dozen international cities and half a dozen countries. So for instance, going to Norway, you're going to see the Viking Museum. But we also visited companies. This was ranked the top country to work in Norway. They use AI for architectural building design, right? How can you maximize the sun coming to apartments, for instance? We also visited exciting startups. As a time management company, very welcoming people. We had a great time talking with their engineers and working with them. They've been working heavily to recruit our students back to Norway. Also, you are giving some free time to explore the city one popular activity this year was the sauna that allows you to swim in the fjord if you wanted to, which is obviously the thing you want to do when you are in Norway in February. Unfortunately, this year we had to come back early, but we had an awesome time. So really great for all the students and everybody that helped us make it happen. So I work in the AI space, work with data science, and I'll be teaching CS1 in the fall. So any questions you have, anything like that, please reach out to me. My email is there and also on the website. Hope to see you all soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Memo. Next, I want to introduce Professor Ming Zhang, who will talk to you about what he teaches, specifically image processing with our students.
Thanks, Dave. Memo, can you stop the sharing screen? Sure. Then I can share mine. Hello, everyone. My name is Ming Zhang. So I'm the faculty member at Wentworth. I primarily teach Computer 1 and image processing. So the Computer 1 is Java programming, which is the course offered in your first semester, and image processing probably be your last semester. So you may see me at your first semester and last semester at Wentworth. So for the following slides, I want to introduce several projects from my image processing course. So first, what is image processing? So the image processing is to make computer understand image and video. We all know artificial intelligence is very popular, but the vision ability is one of the most important ability for computer and robots. Why? Because vision is the primary way people to get information. Like 90% of human information are get through eyes. So that's the primary information you get. For the robot and computer, we need to make them to understand the picture and video. So the next few slides, I will show you some sample project from my course. Like one of the group, they do the optical character recognition, OCR. So they take picture of handwriting and then use image processing technique to convert the handwriting into digital words. So this is a very popular application. And other group did the car plate recognition. So by that way, it can help to audit traffic, find a lost car, and other purpose. And face recognition, so it's very popular. If you use iPhone, you may use a Face ID. So I ask students to use our class database. So we generate everyone's picture, and we use that to test their algorithms to see whether they can recognize everybody. Okay, so it also can offer a new way to check a tendency. So I take a picture, and then it can pop up who missing today's class. Fingerprint recognition and surveilling and tracking. So by using surveilling camera, it can check are there any stranger come to the campus? Are there any weird car or people carry weapon? So by that way, it can provide early warning to prevent some bad thing happened. Like self-driving car, very popular in those days, like Tesla, is primarily based on a vision to detect cars, to detect pedestrian, and to do the line keeping. So one group of students, they do the line tracking to make sure the car will drive in the between lines. And some group do the stop sign recognition. So by that way, it can recognize where the stop sign and to make the car stop, and recognize the speed limit. So to make sure it's a drive in the safety speed, and to recognize pedestrian. We know machine learning is popular. One of the big application is used in computer vision. So make a computer to recognize what contents in the picture. So the current state-of-art record is a computer can run billions of image and only make a 5% error rate, so which is better than human. Through the image processing course, you'll also learn how we can make computer to learn human experience, to recognize objects like car, like a boat, like a bicycle in the picture. So make the computer have the human ability to do things. Okay, so thank you again to come to this section, and I wish I can see you soon at Wentworth.
Great, thanks, Ming. Next speaking is, I want to introduce Professor Magdi Elabidi, who's one of our founding faculty members of our computer networking program, and he'll talk to you a little bit more about what kinds of things you might learn in your first semesters of computer networking. Magdi?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, David, and good morning, everyone. Just to let you know about the computer networking program, it started almost 20 years ago, and it is actually designed to allow for the building of the infrastructure of a network, which is routers and switches, and also to maintain all of the services like all servers that you have, whether it's a web server, whether a DNS server, or whatever server that you want. For me, I would like to actually talk about one of the courses that happened to be the second semester course, which is routing and switching. And I actually would like to talk more about one of the students' project that was simulated and presented actually this current semester. And the student actually submitted that last week. So I'm gonna share my screen to show you the project that the student designed, which I thought was really impressive and very interesting. So the student actually designed the network, as you can see, that have servers like the DHCP server and have a home gateway and have routers that have been configured. However, the neat thing actually is that you can control the whole network from the smartphone or from any of the tablets that you see in here. So for this, I thought it would be nice to share with you that, for example, the office fan, as you can see, there is 2 circles around it, but if I turn it off, there is no circles. I can run it low, or I can run it high, which is the 2 circles. In terms of the other one, which was really neat, is actually the light. And the light in the office here, as you can see, the light is on. I can turn it off, I can dim it, or I can just turn it on. As you can see, it's working. The other couple of things that were really neat is that the student actually managed to have all of those implemented and actually controlled, every single one of them, whether it's a smoke detector, the office, or any of the other devices. The final thing that he actually did, which was really neat, is that actually he had a key card to allow people to enter. So you have the office of the future, or the home of the future for that matter. And the key card actually, if you look at the key card reader, it's red. If I took the key card, actually it will be green and it will allow you to open the door. And that was really neat. If you are using the false key card, of course, it's not going to open the door or allow for entry. All of those are controlled wirelessly with the home gateway, which I thought the student did a fantastic job with. Every single one of them. So you can open a tablet in a room, in a different room, and actually control the devices that you have. So for example, I can, from another room or another office, I can turn the fan off, and I can also turn the light off. I thought it was really neat. The idea here is that you can change the heat, you can do everything, whether it's the heat or cooling. So everything actually is controlled remotely through the 3 separate rooms. And that was actually a freshman project that was presented with a student that did the whole thing after they learned what they needed to do in the routing and switching course. I wanted to welcome you to Wentworth, and I wanted to let you know that we are focused actually on our students' hands-on learning experience where they can do the stuff that they need. By the way, this is done in a software, a simulation software that's known to be Packet Tracer, which is Cisco. We do have Cisco devices as well at the labs, in our lab. Welcome and good luck, and I wish to see you in the fall.
Awesome. Thank you, Magda. That was really cool. Next, I want to introduce Professor Mira Yun, who also works within our networking program primarily, and she teaches courses on wireless networks and wireless applications. Mira?
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to my wireless world. This is my ordinary classroom. And we actually, we want to make our classroom very hands-on and very fun. So my wireless courses, I mainly use Linksys routers, access point, which is quite old, but it's pretty, it's one of the best educational tool. But we would love to bring in Arduino or Raspberry Pi, any kind of hardwares we always welcome to use. And we try to cover what's going on in the wireless, because as all we can see, anything can be smarter, smart without wireless. So we will see what kind of wireless techniques or protocols and applications available. And everybody talking about 5G, and somebody already talking about 6Gs, and then we will see what it is, and then how it goes. And not only wireless, now we are moving to light communications, and people are already using Wi-Fi, and then we'll learn what's the main differences, how they are going, and those are our wireless class topics. And our students really loves to do all kind of projects. So one of the project is through the NFC, we try to solve very complicated indoor navigation, but the solutions that we are undergraduate, so it's not gonna be super hard. It's a very easy solutions, but we solve very complicated problems. That's all our undergraduates can do. So this is one of them. We can easily solve that one by having NFC, or even you don't like to use any new tag or new devices, we can use existing Wi-Fi solutions. So based on Wi-Fi signals, we can tell where you are, and we can now start indoor navigations too. So this is another our student project used by using Wi-Fi signals and tells you where you are. And now, after actually 911, and our government also very interested in provide some public safety networks. So our students also can be involved to develop some disaster recovery networks. So by using wireless techniques and devices. So this is one of the projects, and I believe that he mentioned some very big storm or some disasters, and we successfully implemented our own disaster recovery networks, and then we tried to publish our works to the world. So we Wentworth, we love to do something by ourselves, but at the same time we also publishing our work to the world. So welcome to the Wentworth, and I really hope to see you guys all very soon.
Great, thank you, Mira. Next, we have Professor Raymond Hansen, who is one of the primary people who headed up our cybersecurity program, which we're really excited about. And he'll talk to you a little bit more about what cybersecurity is and the kind of courses that he teaches for us. Ray.
Hi, everyone. As Dave said, I'm Professor Hansen, and I am the lead faculty member of our cybersecurity area of our major. Just to give you a quick rundown of what you might be looking at for our cybersecurity program, on the left column there, you see all the required courses, starting from some foundational pieces, going up through securing both networks and computers. We have some cryptography courses. We also have some business integration courses with our cybersecurity law and policy course, as well as our business continuity course. So this program really is meant to be interdisciplinary, as Dr. Wiseman mentioned earlier, where it really integrates programs from computer science and computer networking, business management, applied math, computer engineering, all contribute to our program here. On the right, you see a handful of the different electives. My research area is in network forensics, so that's what I really enjoy talking about. Tying some of those things together, without the business side, the operational policies to define why we secure things the way we do, dictates what some of those cybersecurity measures are. When some incident then occurs, whether it's a phishing attack, whether it's a hack of some insider trying to leak data through data loss, or exfiltrate information, we would like to identify all of those things. And we do that by implementing appropriate security measures, which is what many of those courses that we previously looked at actually cover. Additionally, without any mechanism to track what has occurred, the investigation side becomes really challenging. So we talk about not only providing a security mechanism of securing an environment, but providing a set of resources and logs and other event information so that when something bad does happen, we can actually do an incident response or a forensic investigation, reviewing that information after we thoroughly investigate it and giving feedback to our operational policies. So it really is a component of business and of computer science and networking, understanding how those things work, of doing successful investigations and being able to speak the language of not only technology, but also of people and what the business is. As Dr. Jones mentioned earlier, that he is Dr. Jones, one of my favorite parts of any movie ever is in Indiana Jones when he's actually lecturing, remembering that his day job was being a professor, that he talks about archaeology as the search for fact, not for truth. And with forensics, that is absolutely true as well. So that's where we spend a lot of time in the cyber forensics courses, actually looking for facts of different cases. And in some of those cases, we have different student projects. Several semesters ago, students built a Windows login tracker that identified date and time of when a user logged in, and then tracked to see how long that user was actually logged into the system. Based on that, some of their friends the next semester took that idea and turned it into a Linux login tracker for Linux systems. Another student was able to search for all of the metadata on images and build a GPS mapper that said this picture was taken at this location, and then put pins on a Google map about where all of those images were taken. And the final one there, the rogue tracker, last semester, a handful of students built an environment where they could identify whether a rogue access point was being implemented by tracking and reporting the different access points that were known to be in an environment versus a new one showing up. So we have some interesting applications of cybersecurity information to allow us to have successful incident response and forensic investigations. So with that, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ray. At this point, I want to turn things back over to Professor Wiseman, who wants to sort of wrap up. And if there's any questions, please leave them and we'll work our way through them and make sure everybody's questions are answered before we leave today. Charlie?
Great. Thanks, Dave. So I just want to take a moment here to thank all the faculty for presenting their projects and what they've been working on in their courses. I certainly hope that all of you found something in the presentations that you were excited about. I'm going to just spend a moment here to talk about one or two quick things, but as I do that, please make sure that any questions you have, type it into the chat window. So, on the bottom of the Zoom window, there's a chat button. You can open up the chat window, and we'll be answering questions. As long as you have questions, we'll stick around and keep answering them. But just to kind of kick that off, let me say a couple of quick words here about the success of our students when they leave Wentworth. So a lot of our students, when they finish up, we send them a survey to understand how they're doing once they leave, where are they working, what kind of job do they have. And we use this to see if the approach we have at Wentworth actually makes sense. And if you've seen the accepted student video or been to any of our other presentations, you've probably seen these numbers, but it's worth calling them out quickly one last time here. Within 6 months of graduating, 99% of our computer science alumni were fully employed in a computer science job or in graduate school. And I say in a computer science job specifically, if you come here and spend 4 years of your time with us, and at the end you leave here with a degree in computer science and start, working flipping burgers at McDonald's, then we don't count that in these numbers. And only really 1 or 2 students every year go to graduate school when they leave Wentworth. Students come to Wentworth because they know they want to get a job in the field that they want to be in particular in computing for us. And so the vast majority of our students go straight into jobs. Many of our students do go to graduate school to get a master's degree later, but maybe once they've been out for a few years and their company will pay for them to do it. So 99% of our students in computer science fully employed in a CS job or in grad school within 6 months of graduating. And those working had a median starting salary of about $72,000. So median, you take all the salaries reported, list them highest to lowest, pick the one in the middle. It's a good target number. Those of you that are thinking hard about the cost of college, which, let's be straight, sure ain't cheap, compare that to the return on investment that you get at the end. I would say 5 years from now, 4 to 5 years from now, using a median salary of $75,000 or $76,000 would be a good number to plug into those ROI calculators. For networking within 6 months of graduation, we had 100% placement rate last year with a median starting salary of about $60K, which is usually a little bit lower in networking than CS, although we've seen that the median salaries tend to converge a few years out from graduation. One last note, these numbers are based on the students that responded to our surveys, which in this case you see it's about 60%, it's about 3 and 5 responded. The 2 and 5 that didn't respond, I can't say if they were employed or how much they were making because they didn't respond to the survey. I say this because I think it's very important you can interpret these data correctly. And as you hear presentations like this at other schools, make sure you get the full picture to understand it. I'm just going to end here with this list of companies. This is some of the folks, some of the places that employed our alumni from the 2018 graduating class. I'm happy to answer questions about those as well if you'd like to know more. But mostly what I would like to spend the last of our time today is really to answer questions that you have. And so we're happy to answer any questions about anything you'd like to ask about our programs, about the experience of our students. Even if you have questions about aid or scholarships or housing or whatever, feel free to ask. And we might not know the answers because we're mostly on the academic side, but we can write them down and follow up with you later. So with that, let's turn and see what kind of questions we have. Dave, what have we seen so far?
Tyler is asking if elective courses can count for credit in addition to AP. I believe Tyler means elective high school courses.
Right. So any courses that you have college equivalent credit for, like AP credit or any other like dual enrollment credit, or if you went to community college, all of that will be considered for transfer credit. AP credit in particular, we do accept AP credit in a variety of subjects, including the Computer Science A exam. If you get a 3 or better, you get credit for Computer Science 1. But if you took classes in high school that don't have some sort of college equivalent like AP or community college credit, unfortunately, we can't accept those because they need to be at the college level to count. I hope that answers your question, Tyler. If not, feel free to try to clarify.
Frank asks, how many students participate in co-op opportunity in our department?
Oh, Frank, that's a fantastic question. In fact, every single student at Wentworth in every major is required to complete 2 semesters of co-op before they're allowed to graduate. So it's very important that every student do both of those. Our students do them on the semester scale, so it's about a 4-month position for each co-op. So that means you get about 8 months of co-op before you graduate. We also have an optional co-op after the sophomore year in the summer, which many of our students do. So in fact, most of our students graduate with 3 semesters of co-op or about 12 months of co-op experience before they walk across the stage. So it's absolutely required. We do help a lot. We help with mock interviews and resume prep and all of those kind of things. But ultimately, the co-op program, like full-time jobs, it is required that you apply to the positions, that you get the interviews, you get the position at the end. Again, we're here to help, and we do a lot to help our students through that entire process, including having a dedicated co-op advisor in our career services office. But yeah, the co-op experience, really, in fact, you know, Frank and others, if you leave here today and remember nothing else about what you saw, remember the co-op program. The co-op program is the most important thing about a Wentworth education. When you leave here, you know, it's quite likely you will have a job from one of your co-op employers. Something like 70% of our alumni have a full-time job offer in hand from one of their co-op employers before they even graduate. Right? So the co-op program is absolutely crucial to what we do here.
And I just want to take a minute and I want to show how that would work in your time here at Wentworth. I'm trying to share my screen here. Hopefully you can see.
Yep.
This is for our computer science students. So what ends up happening is we have this optional co-op that Professor Wiseman just mentioned in the summer of your sophomore semester. By then you've taken data structures and algorithms as a CS student, which are kind of the foundational things you need to know to do really effective programming within the working environment. But the required co-ops are here during the spring of the junior year and the fall of the senior year. What's great about this is that you see, as opposed to other universities that might have co-op programs which ends up delaying graduation, we make up for this by having required summer semesters for our junior and senior students so that you end up graduating in the August of your senior year. So I just wanted to share that so you can see. And I can share the link for the program tracking sheets in the chat so you can check them out for your respective programs.
Thanks, Dave. Let's see, what other questions do we have in the chat? I see one from Richard. My goal is to get into the game development field. Is there anything that Wentworth offers that can help in that regards? And absolutely. I'm going to speak just for a moment on behalf of Professor Micah Schuster, who couldn't join us this morning. He actually teaches our game development course. He's teaching it this fall, where he starts with Unity processing, or Unity programming, and walks through several different types of games that you can work on, and he kind of builds it in the game jam style. So if you happen to be familiar with the game development community, there's periodic game jams where people kind of work together, you know, across weekends, to try to build working prototypes in just a few days. He's adopted that mentality for the class. And then Yatunde, do you want to say anything about gaming as well? I know that's one of your interests.
Yes, that's one of my interests, and I've been working with Professor Schuster, Micah, and we are trying also to make sure that eventually game development becomes one of the things that will be like one of the field of study that you will be added to the existing studies that we have here in the department. And this summer, I will also be teaching an AI for gaming class, which is already filled up, which means people have a lot of interest in it. And so if you have an experience with game development, you are also able to take that course, which will which is tilted towards artificial intelligence aspect, like being able to create game engines that are able to take actions by themselves, behave like, imitate what a human would have done. And we have had situations where games like that are even able to beat humans several times, and not because the game is designed to cheat, but it's because the algorithm over time is able to imitate human style or human style of play, and then it's able to beat you because it's smarter than you, in the sense that he has been able to play with several people, which is also the way humans do. They study your weak points and they are able to overcome you because they now understand your weaknesses. So such are the things that we build, and we're very excited about it. So hopefully the game development is going to become something really big in Wentworth very soon, because people are already very interested in it, and we are already teaching classes that are related to it.
Thanks, Tunde. We also have a fairly active game development club. Students interested in game development, including those not just on the programming side, but on the art and resource development side, which many of us in computer science are not super great at. So it's good to have those folks. So definitely some opportunities there. Let's see. Benjamin asks, you never took AP Computer Science, but you did take the exam. So long as the College Board reports that you got a 3, 4, or 5 on the exam, then you'll get credit for Computer Science 1. And kind of related, Xavier asked about the AP English Literature test. That actually counts as 2 English classes here if you get a 3, 4, or 5. And I put a link in the chat to a page in our catalog that has all of the AP credits that we accept listed and what courses they come in for. So feel free to take a look at that as well if you have any other AP courses, or you can just ask us. We're happy to do so. Let's see, what other questions do we have in here, Dave?
Hayden asks, what are the chances that classes will be online in the fall?
That's a fantastic question. I know it's something that's on everybody's mind, including ours as the faculty here. No decisions have been made, of course. I think most universities are strongly considering that possibility. We did transition to fully online and remote teaching and learning after our spring break. So that was about a month ago now. And our summer semester is also going to be fully online. We haven't decided about the fall yet. I think I speak for all of the faculty and staff in Wentworth when I say we all very much hope that things will be back to normal by September, but we don't know. What are the chances? I really can't say. I'm an optimist, so I would like to tell you that I think the chances are low that it'll be online in the fall, but the situation is evolving so rapidly, it's very difficult to say. What I can tell you is that our president, who just started about a year ago, he has been unbelievably committed to our students during this entire process. And he's only going to make whatever decision he makes with the best interests of all of our students in mind. The safety and health of our students comes first. If we do have to go remote, then I can promise you there will be an enormous amount of communication about getting ready for classes, about all the resources that are available, tutoring resources, how to get in touch with your advisors and professors. There will be an enormous amount of resources and help to make that happen. Hopefully that won't be an issue. Hopefully we'll get to see all of you face to face in September. Certainly if it turns out that it's going to be remote, then you're going to hear a lot about it, and including from me and the other professors here about your classes. But in the meantime, Hayden, let's all, think positive thoughts, say a small prayer, whatever works for you, that things will be back to normal by September.
Yeah, let's. So there's a question about transferring in another degree and what sort of coursework would be remaining. If you have any questions about this sort of thing, your transcript evaluation coming in, please reach out to Professor Wiseman so you can work one-on-one to figure out sort of what your path is going forward, what classes you still need to take and where they would line up semester by semester for you. George has a common question. He asks, is it possible to double major in CS and computer engineering and still graduate on time?
Also, yeah, very common question, George. Thank you for asking. Unfortunately not. Wentworth has a slightly different approach here. So it's, instead of a double major program, we have a dual degree program, which means when you walk out, you actually walk out with 2 separate pieces of paper, 2 separate bachelor's degrees. And that is possible, but in order to make that happen, it requires doing a minimum of 1 extra required co-op in the second major, as well as taking at least, it ends up amounting to at least an extra 2 semesters of coursework in most cases. So you're probably looking at extending your graduation by about a year or 12 months. And I've had students that I've worked with that have done that, double majoring in computer science and math, or computer science and computer engineering, or computer science and something like electromech, which is a really great pairing. However, I think in most cases, George, you would probably be better off getting a 4-year degree in one area and then getting a master's degree in the other. Because in a lot of cases, you could probably get a master's degree in 1 extra year. It might take a 1.5 years or 2, depending, but then at the end of that, you walk out with a master's degree instead of a second bachelor's. But George, I'd be happy to talk about that in more detail with you offline if you'd like to. Yeah. Good. Also, just following up quickly on what Dave said about transfer credit. Again, our transfer credit office handles a lot of that as well. Melissa, I know we spoke, and in fact, you should be getting your transfer eval soon from our transfer coordinator, James Smith. Good. Do you see any other questions, Dave? I'm just looking through it now myself.
Yeah, we just got from Yasha, what is a popular minor for CS students to take if they want more of a business mindset?
Oh, great. That's a good question. In fact, there is a business management minor on campus, and many of our computer science majors and our networking majors a minor in business management. It is, I believe, 5 extra courses. So you'd be looking at taking an extra course most semesters starting your sophomore year. But I think it's worth it because you get a really great pairing of the technical side with enough of the business and management side that can move you in that direction in your future career if you want to. Like particularly maybe you're thinking, 5 years out from graduation, you might want to get an MBA or something, and minoring in business management would be a good choice. On the cybersecurity side, there's also a cybersecurity management minor that's really run through them. But Ray, do you want to speak to that at all?
Sure. One of the courses of that cybersecurity management minor is actually a course out of our department. So that could shorten that number of additional courses that you might have to take. It actually could count as one of your computing electives. And then there's other courses in cybersecurity law and policy, which is another course required for the cybersecurity major. And then it's cybersecurity management, cybersecurity planning, and then a leadership course rounds out that cybersecurity management minor.
Awesome. Thank you, Ray.
If I can interject, Charlie.
Please.
I also wanted to mention that data science minor might be a good option too, because it also allows a business management course to be counted towards the minor, and you get to do analytics and visualization.
That's a great point, Memo. In fact, the data science minor includes a couple of management courses, and also what we traditionally think of as more humanities and social science courses. There's an amazing professor in our humanities department, Professor Ronan Shea, who teaches a course in web analytics, and he frames it as a humanities and social science kind of class, but you still get to do some really neat technical stuff in there. So highly recommended. Thanks, Memo. Let's see. What are the differences from Benjamin? What are the differences in coursework between CS and cybersecurity? Could I get an email with those? Absolutely, Benjamin. I think Dave posted in the chat a link to our website with the tracking sheets. You can look at computer science and cybersecurity, so you can kind of see the trade-offs there. Benjamin, I would also encourage you to reach out to Professor Hansen. I think his email is in the chat here as well, hansenr2 at wat.edu, and he could talk about the cyber side and also can sort of show you that many of the foundational courses are shared between both majors. And in fact, it's probably worth a moment for everyone to highlight that although you have been accepted into a particular major, CS networking or cyber, we have a lot of students who come to Wentworth and have picked one of these because they think they know what they want, but maybe you find out in the first semester or the first year that maybe you wanted something different, and that's totally fine. We have students change majors all the time. Right, every semester I have students change between CS, networking, cybersecurity, also computer information systems and computer engineering, and so that's absolutely expected. I myself am very sympathetic. When I went to college, I started off in aerospace engineering because, come on, space planes, right? It sounds awesome. 6 weeks in, I was done, and I knew I wanted something else, and I eventually found my way to computer science. And so if you're worried at all about, well, I was accepted to CS, but I might want cyber or vice versa, don't sweat it. You'll have plenty of opportunities to reconsider that in the future.
We have another question from Frank about examples of co-ops that students have taken, and what kind of work do they do when they're on co-op?
That's also a great question, Frank. I think, ultimately the work that they do on co-op is very much like the work that they're going to do in full-time jobs. maybe can I put you on the spot, Memo? I mean, you had a student who got a co-op at Bose, right? Would you like to talk about that for a moment?
Sure. He was in the machine learning team, and so there he was working on developing. Started with helping with data collection, I think, but then developing apps. He was working on Android app development for them. We had lots of students work in MIT Lincoln Labs, and they got to work in, I think, lots of different places, everything from backend, server, right? And at least in the Berlin team, I had 30% of the students that co-opted Kayak, and they worked in DevOps and also website development, a few different places, which I think it sounds like a great company to work at. Free beer Thursday afternoons.
Yeah, Kayak is they employ a lot of our students for co-op and full time. A lot on the networking side and cyber side as well. Looking at infrastructure development and DevOps kind of work in addition to the software engineering side, the web development, mobile side. Really, really cool company to work for sure. But that's just a couple of examples. We see students get a variety of different positions, doing all kinds of work from mobile and web development to things like more user support oriented, to working doing in security operations centers or network operations centers, being frontline incident responders. There's all kinds of different jobs out there, and so really I think you'll find that computing as a whole has such a broad umbrella of options that you'll be able to find opportunities that you're most interested in. And one of the things I love about the co-op program, maybe you've got it in your heart, like, I want to do web development. I loved web development, and you get a web development co-op, and at the end, maybe you realize, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is what I wanted. But it's also possible you realize, wait, that's what it's like every day? Absolutely not. I want something else. But either way, you've learned something really useful during that co-op experience that'll help you get ready for a more productive career.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going out there just to fetch coffee for people like some internships might. You're actually working, you're getting paid, you're working from real companies. Some of the most common ones, Charlie probably list off as MIT Lincoln Lab, Akamai, CyberArk, a lot of businesses in the area in computing field, and also in biomed that needs a lot of computing jobs as well around here. But you're not limited to just what's in the Boston area. You can look outside of that. The only thing is that it might take you further away from home, so lodging kind of becomes a concern. But since you're looking for these jobs yourself, the possibilities are really close to endless for this. So thanks again, Frank, for that question. We got a general question. This is probably more for Memo about a cybersecurity student who's interested in a data science minor. I guess this would apply for CS and CN students as well. Is that a lot of extra math on top of what they would already take, Memo?
Hi, Joanna. So for the cybersecurity major, you already have to take linear algebra and probability, I believe. So that means that you don't have to take any extra math courses unless you want to as electives. So what cybersecurity requires already meets the data science minor math requirements. And then you get to choose electives, so you can take electives from CS or the humanities or business or math, as Charlie was mentioning before. So answer is no.
And piggybacking off of what I was just kind of saying about co-ops and the possibilities being pretty widespread, we have questions, are co-ops allowed to be abroad? Yes, they are. But as provided you can, get the paperwork to work in a different country and you're able to secure lodging and all that. Yeah, as long as you're able to work with the authorities abroad and the company is able to help you get cleared for working internationally, absolutely. It's especially easy if you happen to have, some form of dual citizenship or something like that. It's not, I wouldn't say a lot of our students do it, but it's definitely happened before. So yes, that is an option.
Yeah, we've also had students who've had co-ops with a company in here in the States that have international presence as well. And so then they can sort of work through the company to take international positions that way, maybe for a second co-op. Again, not a lot of students have done that, but we've had enough students do it. If you're interested, absolutely. We have some other potential study abroad possibilities as well that we've looked at with, for example, there's a university in the Netherlands called Windesheim, where you could go for a study abroad semester taking courses and then stay in the Netherlands for a co-op semester. So you could spend maybe 8 months there. We haven't actually had any students take advantage of that yet, but it's something that we've been working on. So there's some other possibilities to do that as well. It looks like, I think that might be all the questions I've seen so far. Did we miss anything, Dave?
We just got a new one. What's the best way to get in touch with an admissions counselor as well as financial advisors?
Oh, that's a good question. So probably the best thing you could do, actually, if you shoot me an email, again, I'm wisemanc@wit.edu. You got the email from me about the webinar. Just respond to that email so that I don't lose track of that, and let me know exactly who you're trying to get in touch with, like admissions versus financial aid, whatever. And then I can send you on to those folks to make sure they reach out to you to get any questions you have answered.
Another question, if a student is already working in a computing job in the field, do they still have to do both required co-ops?
That's a great question. You do still have to do both co-ops in order to graduate, but if you're already working, then chances are you can just get your current employer to work with you in that context. It doesn't have to be like a co-op position. So long as you're working full-time, then we're fine with that. You can report that as a co-op, and your supervisor would do an evaluation of you at the end of the co-op, right? But absolutely, so as long as you're working full-time for that semester, then we can count it. But you do have to have essentially 8 months of full-time experience before you can graduate. Yeah.
Is there a central list or anything, or a map for all the co-ops that are available in CS or cybersecurity?
That's a great question. I don't
the co-ops and career offices does job postings that are shared with them from different employers, but it's not like that's what you have to choose from. It's not an exhaustive list. It's pretty much, it's incumbent on students to go out and find these jobs and apply for them and go through the interview process. And the co-ops and career offices is there to help you locate these, is help counseling, make sure that you're prepared for job interviews, that you are fine-tuning your resume to maximize your potential for landing these jobs. I mean, it's competitive. You're going to need to apply for many different positions, not just one or two, and you're kind of matched up. You're going to need to do a lot of footwork, legwork for this. And as far as co-ops being available in specific geographic areas, like for instance, this question is about on Long Island. I'm sure there are many jobs that are available for our students on Long Island. I think there's lots of companies that are headquartered out there. Wouldn't be a problem to locate jobs that are there. It's again, just making sure that you're applying to enough because of the competitiveness that you're able to secure one of these co-ops. And we're here to help with that. And especially the co-ops and careers office is available for that. But no, there isn't a list that says these are all the ones you can choose from. Just sort of this is a list of here are some things that are available to get you started through that process.
Good. I just saw another one come in as well from Benjamin. I've got a friend who's considering coming to Wentworth, isn't sure based on the price compared to other schools. Does the co-op help pay? Oh, that's a great question, Benjamin. Not directly, in the sense that whatever money you make while you're on co-op, you're the employee, you're getting paid. I know a lot of students do use some of their co-op money to help pay for some of their tuition bills. So in that sense, it sort of does. I guess what I would say is, just to understand the process, when you're on co-op for that semester, you will get paid. Our students don't take unpaid co-ops. Sophomores doing the optional co-op make maybe $17, $18 an hour on average. By senior co-op, students are making usually between $25 and $30 an hour on average. And while you're on co-op, then you're getting paid for that time, and you're not paying tuition for that semester because you're not taking classes, you're working. And so, you get kind of a break because you're, that semester you're not paying tuition, but you're making money. And it's up to you if you want to use some of that to, pay for some of your tuition or not. So it does help a little bit, I would say, but ultimately it's kind of up to you to decide how you want to manage that. What I will say is that because our students are so successful getting jobs at the end, I think it makes it worth it because you're getting paid for at least some of those semesters while you're here. And at the end, it is very, very likely you're going to get a good job that pays quite well when you leave Wentworth. And so, in fact, one of the things that Wentworth is well known for is that our student earning potential, that is how much money you're likely to make when you leave, compared to the cost of tuition, is a very, very strong proposition. Another way that this is tracked, students who graduate with any kind of student loan debt, occasionally students, if they don't find jobs, they might have to default on those loans. Wentworth has one of the lowest student default loan rates in the country. And that's because our students make such good money when they leave here. They don't have trouble paying off their tuition and loan debt, student loan debt. In fact, compared to other schools in New England and particularly in Boston, our tuition is actually rather inexpensive compared to most of our direct neighbors. If you're comparing to other public schools where you have get in-state tuition, of course, that's going to be less expensive.
I think would it also help to also realize that we also include a laptop with the admission. For the CS, the students get a brand new Razer laptop to use for their coursework.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same for all three majors. Yeah, thanks, Memo.
Yeah, and depending on your situation as far as aid and scholarships, many students as well find that that Wentworth is competitive with the pricing for state schools in the area as well. So Xavier says, during a co-op semester, can you still live on campus? The answer is yes. You can work that out with the residential life office to have housing during your co-op semester. But many students find that it's cheaper or better many by that point in their career are choosing to live off campus. But if you need housing during your co-op semester, yes, you can still secure that with residential life.
Right. Obviously, you'd be paying for that semester of room and board then, just to be clear. Good. I don't see any other questions. I think the faculty, staff, and I were happy to stick around for a few more minutes. If you have any other questions, please keep posting. Looks like one just came in from Neil. Which Razer do you get? We provide students with a Razer Blade 15. I don't know the specs specifically for the incoming class yet, for incoming freshmen, but I think maybe Dave, I think you can probably find the link for the model that was given to freshmen this year, and you can put that into the chat. But if you don't have any other questions, let me just take a moment to say thanks again for coming to spend your Saturday morning with us. Obviously, if you think of questions after now, like, oh, I should have asked that, or if you just didn't have the comfort level to ask a question in the chat here, which is totally understandable, please don't hesitate to shoot me an email. You've all got my email address from the webinar information. Just shoot me an email with whatever you need. I'm happy to respond that way. I'm also happy to set up one-on-one, either phone calls or video calls with you. And I could also put you in touch with any faculty here if you have particular questions you'd like to know. Like if you really want to know more about cyber, I can get you in touch with Professor Hansen. Or if you really want to know more about data science, I can get you in touch with Professor Ergezer. Or if you're dying to know more about what you learn in mobile or app development, I can put you in touch with Professor Jones. Just let me know and I can help make those connections. So thank you all again. Again, you're welcome to take off at this point. We'll stick around for a few more minutes for anyone who has any final questions. But otherwise, have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there, and hopefully we'll see you in the fall.